All right. You have been running on empty, putting everyone else first, wondering when things will finally change. You're tired of just surviving and you're ready for something different. I want to welcome you all to Beyond Survival Mode. I am your host, Ashley, the founder of the Remedy. And this space right here, this is where we get real about healing, setting up good boundaries, breaking old patterns, and building a life that you actually and truly want to live. Okay? There's no fluff. I'm not trying to overwhelm you. I'm not trying to sell you no big pipe dream. These are just practical tools that I apply to my own life. Okay? And I just want to share them with you. All right. So let's go ahead and get into this show and see what we're going to be talking about today. All right. So today, we're going to be talking about survival mode. But first, I want to share a quick little story with you. All right. At one point, I really and truly thought I was healed. Like I had been doing some work. I had been doing some real true introspection, some self-reflection, trying to figure me out, trying to break these patterns and boundaries, like or set up better boundaries and actually enforce them. Going to therapy, doing all the things, right? And then life happened. And just like that, I had went back to those old patterns that I thought I was, that I had broken free from. Okay. And it set me back and I was a little disappointed about it. I was like, dang, I did all of this and here I am almost like back to where I started from. And then I realized that's what survival mode does. When things happen, you kind of just do what you do and you get by. And when you're just getting by, that is survival mode. So one of the things I did all the time, I was still people pleasing. I was saying yes to things that I truly, really wanted to say no to. I was still shrinking myself. So sometimes you'll enter into a space and, you'll kind of shrink yourself down, not to step on anybody's toes or to have an opinion or something like that. I was doing that. So that what you're still stuck. I was still stuck in survival mode because I was doing some of those things and not realizing I was doing them. Okay. If any of those things resonate with you, if any of those things that you feel that you're still doing, then this show is for you. Okay. So today we're talking about what actually is survival mode. What is it really? And why is it so hard to break free from? And I am going to share how I finally did it. Okay. I did not do it. It was messy, and it wasn't a straight line. There is no end all be all, but I can tell you that you can just start. All right. But you just do one thing at a time. And so I'm hoping that something resonate with you on today. So what I want you to do, grab you some paper, grab you a pen, get your tea, or get you some water. Okay. So you can lock in and get this information. You should be taking notes, writing these things down so you can go back and reflect on them later, okay? All right. So we're going to get into it. Like I said, I have my paper here. This is more like it's education, but it's good education, okay? And I know that there are hundreds, thousands of people out there, but that are doing this. But sometimes you just resonate with somebody. And if I can help one person, then I am fulfilling my purpose. I am doing what I am called and what I am supposed to be doing, okay? So y'all just, stay the course, listen, and I just hope something stick out with you to help you. So let's get into what exactly is survival mode. All right. So it's when you're just getting through the day. You're reacting instead of choosing. That's deep right there. You're putting everyone else first, your kids, your partner, your boss, your job, your friends, and there's nothing left for you. You're just exhausted, always exhausted. And you can't remember the last time you felt like yourself. You don't even know what that is anymore because you've been doing everybody else for so long. And then deep down, you know something needs to change, but you don't know how or where to even start. Like we've all been there. Like you don't know what to do. You know something is off. You know something is off, but you do not know where to start. Here's what survival mode looked like for me, okay? This is what it looked like for me when I recognized, I recognized that I was in survival mode. The biggest thing for me was people pleasing. Okay, I couldn't say no. I would bend over backwards for everyone else, even when it hurt me. I would bend over backwards for everybody else, even when it would mean if it costed me money that I know I didn't have at the time, if it meant me staying longer than I wanted to stay when I knew I had another obligation to get to, if it meant me, coming in early and I know I didn't feel like it. That's people pleasing. Okay. Shrinking. I never really spoke up for myself. The only time I would advocate, I can advocate for other people and I could speak up for other people, but I could not speak up for myself. I defend, like I said, everybody else all day long. But when it came to my own needs, it was straight silence. Going, going, and going. Like you can't stop. You keep moving, you keep going, you keep doing, and you feel like you have to keep doing so you can feel like you're doing something and being productive, being busy all the time, always moving. Because sometimes if you stop for too long, that means you actually have to feel something, okay? And you'll have to face, or that's what I had to, I would have to actually face like what was really going on. And here's the thing, survival mode just doesn't show up out of nowhere. It just don't come in a rise one day. It's a response to something. All right. And I do want to let everybody know, like, when you're in survival mode, it's a response to something. It can be something traumatic from your past. It can be something from your childhood. And I can tell you, all of us are who we are today because of our childhood. Those were our most formative years. We are who we are because of our childhood. Listen to all the people who talk about the inner child, the little boy, the little girl that's inside of us. That's who we're actually nurturing and trying to help. The child that's people pleasing. I mean, or the adult that's people pleasing or having a hard time saying no, maybe because in childhood you didn't have a voice. All of it ties back to your childhood. Just keep that in mind. So I kind of learned like sometimes silence was the best way to keep peace. Growing up, a lot of us were taught, do as I say. You don't have a voice, you don't have an opinion. And although sometimes that was, taught to be like a way of respect, but what happened, a lot of children lost voice. They didn't speak up for themselves. You're getting your child to be under submission. There's a balance with that, okay? But I'm just giving an example. I'm not saying, that happens to everybody, but every child is different, so sometimes keeping the peace was easier. Even making other people comfortable, I felt like that was what I was supposed to do. Hey, if they were not happy, it was my responsibility to go check on them and make sure that they were happy. This was everywhere. Like, I don't know. That's just one of the things that I did. Okay. So those patterns followed me everywhere, in friendships, growing even into relationships, work environments. I would tolerate being mistreated just so I could keep the peace. If that meant disrespect or whatever, I just didn't want the confrontation. I just wanted to keep the peace. So sometimes what happens for a lot of us, men and women, we'll stay in a relationship longer than what we need to. You'll stay in a relationship and be disrespected for years, and you just felt like that's just what it was. I didn't believe I deserved any better than what that was. And then one day, something shifted, literally. When you hit a space in life and you look around and you're like, enough is enough. You're either going to stay there, roll up and die in all of your sadness and finish your life out unhappy, or you're going to make a conscious decision that today is the day that everything is going to change, no matter what it takes or how long it takes. That was the shift that happened with me. I had hit a breaking point where I realized I didn't want to die like this. I didn't want to exit the earth feeling like the way I was feeling and living the way I was living. There had to be a better way. And so I made a decision to change my life. I thought that decision, that moment of walking away from what wasn't serving me was the healing. I was wrong. So sometimes we can think just physically moving can be the healing. I left that bad relationship. I'm healed. I broke free. No, I left that toxic job. I left that job and now I'm good. Now I done broke free from that and I'm healed. That is not how that works. You just removed yourself from the situation to create space for your potential healing, but survival mode doesn't just disappear because you remove or change your circumstances or change addresses. It follows you until you do the deeper work. I want to say that again. Survival mode doesn't just disappear because you change your circumstances or addresses, just because you physically relocated. It follows you until you do the deeper work. So if you're sitting here thinking, I already left that place, I left that toxic relationship, I left that man, or I set boundaries, but you're still tired, you're still feeling stuck, I do want you to know this. You're not broken. I'm not trying to, make you feel bad about you removing yourself. That is a good first step, because once you remove yourself from that environment, that creates the space for you to start your healing so you can focus on yourself. You're not broken. You're just in survival mode. That's where I want the soft spot to hit. And that's okay, because recognizing it is the first step into breaking free. It's breaking into that space of being healed, okay? All right. So once you move yourself and you made that decision, why are you still stuck? So for me, after I made that decision to change my life, I spent the next few years falling down, getting up, falling down and getting up. I was doing the work. I was going to therapy, self-help books, YouTube University, doing everything, that I could possibly do to break free. And I thought I was healing because I saw progress. I was feeling good. I was feeling better about myself. So I was seeing some of the work show up in my life physically. The people I would come in contact with, they could see it. They could see the work. But this is what I did not realize. I was still operating from some of my old patterns. So let me unpack that. I was still operating from some old patterns. And so here goes a little spot for me here. I opened myself up to love again, like to a relationship. I opened myself up. I was thinking, hey, you know what? I am healed. I am truly in a good space. Let me walk through this door because, I'll be able to recognize the good and see what should be and what should not be. Y'all, I had met someone and I thought, this is going to be it. I done the work and I was ready. And then they left, right? They left. And so it was a shock to me because I did not understand how could someone just up and leave like that? And it was unprovoked and it was just out of nowhere. And it really bothered me. It hurt your girl. I was like, oh my God. Not just because that had a little heartbreak with me. It was because I couldn't understand how I let that happen again. How in the world did I let that happen again? How did I allow someone to come in with my healed self and do that to me? And it was baffling. And it took me a minute. I had good friends, a good support system, or whatever, because it really took a lot for me to process because I was just coming from this good space. And how could this happen with me doing all this healing work? All right. How did I miss the red flags? How did I miss them? How did I ignore my own needs? How did I fall back into the same survival mode patterns I thought I had already healed? And then around the same time, a little bit before that, I had lost someone I deeply loved. I lost my grandmother. And that was a lot for me. And so that was like the breaking point. That was another turn. And so when you're at rock bottom, you got two choices. You could stay at the rock bottom, wallow in all of your self-pity, or make a decision, right? And I'm going to tell you the decision I made. And the best decision that I have made this entire time was solitude. Y'all, we hear this all the time. We hear this all the time on social media platforms about solitude. The best decision I ever made was choosing solitude. And I shut everybody out. I stopped trying to fix things and I went completely inward. And this time it was just different. It was deeper. I read a notebook and pen in hand, journaling. I watched YouTube like nobody's business. There are hundreds of people out there that can help you, like give you insight, I sit with uncomfortable things because sometimes we don't want to sit alone. Because if we sit alone, that's when everything get really, really loud. Like you got to sit in your mess, all of your hurt, the loss, the disappointment, the things that you did not do that you should have done, the things you did do that you should not have done. Solitude is the incubation for growth. I heard someone say that, and this has stuck with me. Solitude is the incubation for growth. And one of the books that I read while I was in solitude was Boundaries. I encourage everyone to get the book. This book is by Dr. Cloud and Dr. Townsend, an incredible book about boundaries. And they discuss boundaries with your partner if you're in marriage, church folk, your friends, your family, your job, your children, even yourself. They talk about it all. And it's my go to. And I can't tell you the amount of times that I went back and referenced that book for guidance. All right. This book didn't just teach me how to say no, it taught me what I was allowed to say no to, that my needs mattered, that I wasn't selfish for choosing me. There is nothing wrong with choosing you. We just have to get comfortable with doing it. Because you have been sacrificing yourself for so long, you feel guilty for choosing you. With your kids, you don't want to put yourself first with that. With your spouse, family, work, you be feeling guilty about it. I am telling you, it is the most liberating and the most self-loved thing you could do. So here's what I learned in solitude. As I stated earlier, I got ahead of myself because I got excited. Solitude is the incubation for growth. You can't heal in the same environment that broke you. You can't transform while you're still performing for everyone else. You have to get quiet. You have to get still, and you have to choose you, period. This is how you will know if you're in survival mode. So I'm going to give you a few signs, all right? You can't say no without guilt, even when you're exhausted. Even when you don't want to do it, you're still doing it because you don't want to disappoint anybody. 2, you're always the one who speaks up for others, but never yourself. You'll defend your friends, co-workers, your kids, but when someone disrespects you, you go silent. 3, you feel like you're just going through the motions. You wake up, you go to work, take care of everyone, go to bed, rinse and repeat. There is no joy, no peace. That's surviving. That's just surviving when you do that. Number 4, you tolerate disrespect because you don't believe you deserve better. I heard a bishop say once, it was Bishop R.C. Blake, said, what you tolerate, you accept. What you tolerate, you are accepting, okay? You don't have to tolerate disrespect. This is why you're going to have to get these boundaries in order and start choosing you, okay? Number 5, you're exhausted all the time, but you can't stop moving. Because if you stop, you'll have to feel. And feeling is scary. Now, if any of those resonated with you, I want you to hear this. It's not your fault that you're in survival mode, but it is your responsibility to get out of it. Okay? It is not your fault that you are in survival mode, but it is your responsibility to get out of it. I always say, and I never thought I would be saying this, but I used to hear it a whole lot. Nobody is coming to rescue you out of whatever you got going on. Not when it comes to your emotional, your mental, or your health, nobody's coming to save you from that. You have to save you from that. Okay? And it sounds big, but I promise you, you just do a little bit at a time. Just a little bit at a time, okay? Give yourself some grace. Give yourself some grace. Now, just know at the end of the day, or on this healing journey, this is freedom. This is freedom. You doing your personal mastery is not a burden. This is freedom. So how do you start breaking free? How do you start getting into that realm of freedom? How do we get there? It's a mindset shift. You have to shift. You have to shift. Break free from survival mode doesn't mean you have to have it all figured out. It doesn't mean you need a perfect plan or a 5-year roadmap. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect. Okay. Like I said, mine was messy. I was all over the place. I do real good and fall off. I do real good and fall off. But I gave myself grace to get back up and keep on going. I knew in my knowing that I was not going to stop. So it means you make one decision at a time. Today is the day I choose me. because what you're currently experiencing is not it. This ain't it, y'all. If you in survival mode, if you're relating to any of the things that I talked about, that's not it. And you know it. You know it. So here's what breaking free looks like for me and what it can look like for you. Okay? Just take what resonates. You don't have to take it all, but just take what resonates. I'm just giving you what helped me, and maybe it'll help you. All right. Now, I went into complete solitude. I really went all the way in, and I'm like, I'm going to do this thing. Part of me too, because I was curious, deeply wanting to know what is it like on the other side. I can tell you it's beautiful over here. There's beauty on this side. Okay. Now, you don't have to go in complete solitude or shut everyone out like I did, but I am saying you need to create space for yourself. You don't have to shut everybody out, but create space for yourself. So this might look like 10 minutes in the morning before anyone wakes up. Just get up. Get up. 10 minutes before everybody else get up. Get up and just be by to yourself. Journal. Turn it off your phone for an hour. Turn the phone off. You're going to be okay. Saying no to plans so you can just be. Everybody going? If you don't want to go, just say no. I can tell you in that boundary book, you really find out, who your friends are. If your friends are like respectful, and say, "Oh, okay, well, girl, enjoy your night, rest." Those are good friends. They're supportive. But if they's like, you need to come out anyway, you need to do this and do that, you might want to kind of look into it. And I know sometimes friends try to encourage you to come out to get you out of the house. But if you're saying, "Hey, I'm staying in," to relax, to rest, they should not guilt you for you choosing you. And then journal without editing yourself. I love journaling. It is my favorite thing to do. I love to journal. So action step for this week. This is what I want you all to do. Find 1 hour where you're alone with your thoughts, no TV, no scrolling, just you. And sit with whatever come up. No task in mind. You get your paper, get your journal book and pen, and you just sit. And whatever come up, you get to writing about it. That's it. That's it. Do that for an hour. And before you know it, you'll look up an hour gone. Just do that. Do that for yourself. Now, step 2, let's learn about boundaries. This will change your life, okay? For me, like I said earlier, it was the book Boundaries by Dr. Henry Cloud and Dr. John Townsend. That book taught me that boundaries aren't walls. They are bridges. They protect your peace while still allowing connection. If you don't know how to set boundaries, I want you to start there. You can get the book or do the Audible book. Follow people on social media who talk about boundaries. There are books out there. Just go find something to help you address your boundaries. Start small. Say no to one thing this week. Just this week, just one thing, say no to it. And what you're doing, you're practicing and building that muscle. You're practicing, and the more you do it, the more confident you get with it. All right. So your action step that you're going to do, follow somebody on social media that talks about boundaries, or go get a book or listen to Audible book. 3, recognize your patterns. So like I told y'all, I thought I was healed, but I was still attracting the same kind of people in same situations. Why? Because I hadn't broken the pattern. You're going to continue to attract the same thing over and over again because you have yet to break the pattern. So I want you to ask yourself these 3 questions. 1, what do I keep tolerating that I know I shouldn't? 2, what do I keep saying yes to even when I want to say no? 3, who in my life consistently disrespects me and why do I allow it? Ask yourself those questions and then journal on them. Get real honest about it. The patterns won't change until you see them clearly. So like as you're writing them out, you may pick up a pattern in there and see that is something that you need to work on. Okay. Then the step 4 that I want you all to do is make one decision today. You don't have to leave your job. You don't have to end your relationship. And you don't have to blow your whole life up. Like go around just departing. You do have to make one decision in the direction of choosing yourself. So maybe something like this, having a hard conversation you've been avoiding, setting a boundary with someone who's been crossing the line, saying no to something you don't want to do, asking for help instead of carrying it all alone. Woo, that's the one right there, asking for help, blocking someone who's toxic. Quit entertaining those toxic people. Cut them off. Block them. Investing in yourself. Therapy, coaching, a book, this podcast. Okay. So what I want you to do What's one decision you can make today? I want you to make it, even if it's small, even if it's scary. I want you to make the decision. You have to exercise that muscle. And that's what I would tell myself. Like it's practicing my nose to something small. It could be telling, saying no to my children about something that normally I probably would have given into, or a friend asking me to go someplace and I'm like, well, no, I'm not going to go. I'm just going to stay in tonight or whatever. You just start. You just got to start. So what's the truth about healing? The truth about healing is, here's what I need you to know. And I've said this several times already. It's not linear. It's not like you're gonna get it right the first time. It's trial and error. And the biggest takeaway I want everyone to know is to give yourself grace. Giving yourself grace is an act of self-love. All right. Give yourself grace while you're on this journey. You're not going to get there overnight. You're going to mess up a couple of times and you may still say yes to some things and it's okay. Just know next time, you know what? I really didn't want to do that. But next time I'm going to get it right. I'm going to say no. And stop beating yourself up. Stop beating yourself up. So if I can do this, you all, you can too. You can do it too. If I can do it, you can do it. I am telling you what I know. You can do it. I'm not special. I'm not no superhuman. I am just a woman who made a decision that I wanted to see my life differently. And I made that choice. That's what I did. I decided that I was tired of just surviving and decided that I wanted to start living. I wanted to experience life in the best way possible. So much come out of this when you decide that you're going to self-mastery, when you're going to work on yourself, on your personal development, when you unpack yourself. So many beautiful things come from it. And as you start on your journey, you'll start seeing the fruit of the work you've been doing. Just stay with it. And you can make that same decision today. So, if today's episode resonated with you, here's what I want you to do. Pick one thing we talked about and try it this week. Just one. Healing does not have to be overwhelming. And if you're ready to go deeper, I want you to visit theremedy.com to check out the Remedy experience or our workshops and all the ways we can support you on your journey. And then on our website, you can sign up for our newsletter. You'll get information that way, little tips and tidbits here to help you on your journey and along the way. I am also on Instagram and on Facebook. We drop even more information and content there to help you keep moving forward, just to keep you encouraged. As I'm encouraging you, I'm encouraging myself too. So remember, the remedy is you. The remedy is you. Okay? You have everything you need to heal and grow. Everything is already in you. You just got to believe and just start somewhere. And you can start today with it. So that is it. I just want to thank y'all for sitting with me on my first episode of Beyond Survival Mode. I'm really happy that we were able to get this out and so thankful already and in complete gratitude for the people that it will help along the way. So thank you. Until the next episode.